Hello and welcome to today's historic best of 3 deck tech and gameplay video on Life Gain wins, or what it really is mono white aggro. Now, why am I making this particular list? It's sort of doesn't have any cards from like the Avatar set, so it seems odd that I would include it. Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is that the Avatar set didn't have that many cards that really like caught my interest, so I had to either expand what I wanted to do or sort of start going through the backlog of decks I always happen to have floating around. And this was kind of one of them. For context, Mono Red is a deck that's sort of always been around and will always be somewhat, kind of good. But Mono White as like an aggressive deck doesn't really exist in ways that it used to, say, like 10 years ago or whatever. Or like even when, like Arena, I want to say it was an open beta in Standard, they had some mono white aggro deck that was like a very kitchen table level kind of thing. I tried to make a deck like that, and it did not work. It didn't even kind of work. And really, the power level of Historic is just at such a point where something that kitchen table and like fair just cannot work. So you have to still, if you want to make a sort of mono white aggro list, you have to lean into what mono white can do. And what it can do is gain life. So this is really like an aggressive Soul Sister style list that's just in one color. Of course, you can add like white and green and get some good synergy, or white and black and get some good synergy. But I want to, over the near future, I want to like have a mono-colored version of, or a deck for each mono color, and a mono white life gain deck does exactly that. And what the deck itself, in a more nuts and bolts sort of way, wants to do, very simple: play loads of creatures early on. Loads of 1-drops, loads of 2-drops really is the bulk of our deck, that either gain his life directly, like Soul Warden or Guide of Souls, or care when we gain life, like Voice of the Blessed, Ocelot Pride, and other cards in the deck. And in addition to gaining life just because life is nice to gain every once in a while, we really use that life gain and sort of transfer it into pressure and sort of aggression, and from there you just try and beat your opponent down. The deck is very, very simple. One thing I have in a lot of white-based aggressive decks you'll see is 3-Tree Battalion. I love this collected company in white style effect, and it works really well in a mono-colored list. It's land base, not a whole lot of lands, because as you can see, most of our spells are 1 and 2 costs. You don't really need that much to hit the ground running. Again, average 2.1, so if you wonder why there's so few lands, that's why. Buttload of basics. I run the dunes here. I think it's Sheffet Dunes is almost always a better planes, because you don't really need to worry about the paying the life bit. In a deck like this, you're going to have good access to life, and being able to cash in one of your lands for like a little tiny anthem is sometimes nice. Iganjo for removal in the land. Cave of the Frost Dragon if you flood. Same thing with Amiria's Call if you flood or need something to do late game. It's just, a big body that's also a land. Sideboard, pretty self-explanatory. Get Lost because you need some removal here and there. Settle the Wreckage because even in an aggressive deck you need to have a board wipe, and if you're in white, Settle the Wreckage is a great card that will fill both needs. Witch Enchanter is basically a naturalize on a body if you need it. The two ones that might seem a little weird is the Apostle of Purifying Light. It is really, its main function is to be like repeatable graveyard hate that also hits the 3-Tree Battalion, and also is a cleric for like a Righteous Valkyrie to get us more life, and then the life gets turned into pressure, but we've already talked about that. And the protection from black is like a nice bit of, a nice bit of tech that is not the reason why it's in here, but also if you want to run your own special like pet mono white graveyard hate card you can. I just like the Apostle, but don't be married to this card. Grand Demolisher just ensures that only we can act on our turn, basically. And again, is a body, and is also a cleric for much the same reason as the Apostle. A couple of Boromirs, because sometimes you just need to have Wrath protection, because your opponent's going to have Wraths, and while the opponent's not casting spells for no mana, counter the spell thing doesn't come up often, you'll run into the occasional, like, Sultai Ultimatum thing. This will come in handy more often than you think. You'll also find some Dimir-based things that have the Woodland and Omniscience or whatever. It comes in play every once in a while, but really, it's just a dude that protects your board. And I have 2 1 rings. A nice way to protect yourself if you need to from your opponent doing the big bad scary thing. Can also sort of work as another Settle the Wreckage style effects that can also draw you cards, because again, in a deck like this we're usually going to have access to a good amount of life, so you don't really mind paying the extra life for the cards from the 1 ring. And the second is just to cycle away the first one once the burden counters eventually get too high, and the second one can be used a little more sparingly. But that is the basics of the list. Play dudes that gain life. Play dudes that like it when you gain life. Apply pressure, go face. Very simple, very old school, and about as kitchen table old school friendly as a mono white deck can really get in the format. Anywho, with all that out of the way, we'll go on now. Oh, wait, also, don't forget to like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you like my grab bag content and would like to see more in the future. And if you don't have, X card and you want to ask, hey, I don't have X, what about Y? Or other generally nice comments, I'll respond to what I see. Now, with this very, very long deck intro out of the way, we'll go on to game number 1. And again, number 1 with our little mono white aggro list. And as always, go first because we have a brain. Pardon the dog, he's crying because he's not getting attention. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Perfectly good opening hand. 2 lands, plenty of spells, and a curve. Can't ask for much more. Pay 3, Guide of Souls. Pretty much regardless of what happens, we're playing the Voice of the Blessed next turn. I guess I was about to say, I'm sure there are there's a way they can counter that. That Lord of the Rings, I think it's called like Stern Scolding or something, that sees an odd amount of play. Okay. Land is nice. Don't know if I should wait to see if they play something and I can remove it with an apparition. Or do I play creatures now, get the Voice of the Blessed? I think that is the play. I'm going to play creatures now, get the life gain, get the voice really big. If they have some sort of removal, or I guess a bounce spell, probably. If they have that, then, like, whatever. And I'll take that. That's fine. I think... Well, that's not fair. Yeah, okay, real fast. Abolish is pretty good in this instance. Soul Warden's not that good when they're not playing creatures. I was going to give them a roasting, but in a game that you will now never see, I functionally did much the same thing that they did. After a couple turns, you knew, like, it just wasn't going to go your way, so you're just like, fuck it, let's just run it again. And that's how we got to this game. Yeah, go ahead and keep. Don't need both Essence Channelers with, like, no essence to channel, man, or no way to gain life. Okay, I was really thinking we would have drawn a 1-drop by now. Oh, is it? Okay, some sort of life gain deck. Ooh la la. So we made a bad call then. In that case, Ocelot Pride. Yeah, they could have that, I think it's a Metallic Rebuke thing as a card, which is a possibility, but I wouldn't hold my breath. It's not a great look. Yeah, I guess we Essence Channeler. We can't attack, so we just have to, like... That helps. Well, I turned too late, but we got there. Yeah, if we gotta sit there and just start blocking stuff. Okay, so yeah, it is, like... What's the word? Azorius Affinity. There we go. It is an Affinity deck, which is totally fine. I really do not like this. But I think the only responsible thing to do is to actually get rid of the synthesizer, because this will pull away with the game. Everything else, like, I can do more apparitions if I need to. But, like, that will make an absurdly large board very fast. Okay. He has Snow Waste. Okay, maybe it isn't Azorius. I'm sorry. I looked at this waste and it looked like a Plains from a distance, and I just made a bad call. What in the hell is my opponent running? I mean, they're clearly still some sort of artifact-heavy deck with Synthesizer and Steel Overseer. That's really fascinating. I guess Apparition. Get rid of the bigger crawler. I think that's the right play. That's like nice and all that, but what in the hell am I going up against? I'm fascinated though. Alright, I'm less fascinated if we're being entirely honest. Why are they... I mean, maybe they just haven't found the... Oh, what's the artifact land? Seed of the Synod? What the fuck is clear? Okay, I no longer know what I'm going up against. It's all over the goddamn place. Sure. Guess we'll 3-tree and look for another apparition maybe if we get lucky. But we didn't, which is fine. Voice of the Blessed. Okay, that does change the calculus a smidge. I think we just throw the pride away because I want the life gain. Yeah, the block is free, I promise. I just want the life. I need my stuff to get bigger. And I'll take it however I can get it. Okay. If we have to chump block with apparitions, I think we're fine to throw this away. Echoes of Eternity. Alright. Alright. I don't know if that's good, but it's cool. In the meantime, we have some things we can actually do now. A couple of Guides of Souls. Voice of the Blessed. Getting a buttload of stuff. We stumbled there for a second, but turn it around the end. The Voice of the Blessed. Give me some more life, and therefore bigger dudes. There we go. This is what the deck wants to do. Attack, attack, attack. Unless you have... Honestly, attack, attack. You only have one blocker. I guess there are mechanically things you could probably do. Yeah! There we go. Okay. Okay, I'll take that. Echoes of Eternity. Some, like, okay, kind of interesting... I wanted so bad to see what their deck was doing. Oh well. We take what we can get. Granted, this is, I mean, more of the deck sort of solitaring, doing a solitaire kind of thing, than it was our opponent. Well, okay. I mean, we got to 12 with a couple of crawlers. Yeah, I just really wanted to see what our opponent was doing. And we did show what the deck wants to do. It did exactly what the deck tech, or I implied in the deck tech. Play dudes that gain life, dudes that care when you gain life, go face. And then you just repeat until, you know, they die or you die. So you can't really ask for much more than that. Anywho, now we'll go on to game number 2. And game number 2 with our mono white aggro list. And as always, we go first because we have a brain. And 1 land, 6 spells, but 5 of those 6 are 1-drops. We'll keep it. Under normal circumstances, I would say you throw this back all day long, but this particular list is so low to the ground that you can actually get away with what would normally be very aggressive. Well, aggressive is the wrong word. Questionable keeps. Oh, please be a mill list. I would unironically love to play a mill list. In the meantime, play dudes that gain life, go face, rinse, repeat. Bounced. Ow. Yeah, okay, Mill's cool. Demira Mill's, like, less cool. Not bad, it's just... cool's the wrong word. Less interesting, I think, is the much more fair word. This is one of those where, like, yeah, we're getting... Okay, to be fair, Mill is and this sounds crazy, and I don't think this is my thought, but almost certainly smarter Magic players than me have made this a similar, what's the word, observation. When an opponent is playing Mill and trying to mill you out, they are also on an aggressive list. But instead of attacking your life, they attack your deck, where you start out with 20 life, like a normal deck would try and, you know, deal 20 points of damage. In this instance, we start with 60 cards, and they're trying to mill 60 cards. So we're just, you know, we're doing the same, well, yeah, we're doing the same, quote you can't see me making, thing, we're just going at it from different angles. Once again, go face. The only clean block is the speaker, and gonna be honest, I am A-okay with that. Don't think our opponent... Well... 28. Yeah, exiles it. Another glimpse. Does he have to pay for the men? He does. I mean... Cool. The Secret Keepers are gonna help him. That is a fair shout. They are gonna help. It's so weird. I'm milling lands, but I also don't care. Yeah, and the Secret Keepers... I'm sorry. Oh, it's a... I mean, it could be a spell they're playing. It's also giving him Wind Robber priority. I was gonna say, the Secret Keeper is, like, keeping them alive, but it's not dealing with my board. What is the, like, functional equivalent of a wall is not exactly the biggest, like, thing I have to care about. Guide of Souls. Actually gonna do this on... Hang on, what are we doing here? That will already get big. We don't need to have it get even bigger. Speaker of the Heavens is pretty good. It was about... Okay, so then... Oh, that makes me feel better. Nothing I was going to play there was going to resolve. Okay, that's totally fine. What are you going to do? To be fair, though, we did, like, the thing I've always said and other players have always said. You made them have the thing. They needed to have the thing, or, like, they were in a really, really bad spot. If we draw a land, we have stuff to... You have to read ahead, right? What do you have in your hand? Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I know this sounds obvious. I for a second I didn't know if it would see the adventure in your hand as being in your hand, because like I know adventure cards and the creatures they're attached to like aren't dual face lands. Yeah, they're not dual-face lands, where if it was a dual-face land with like a creature on the front end, like, well, this is a bad example. I thought, okay, let me rephrase my thinking. I thought that because the Secret Keeper is the name on the top of the card, that it wouldn't see the Adventurer for founding the third path. I thought it would work in that way, almost work similar to like a dual face card where the card on top is what like the rules see, but clearly it does not. And what stopped me there for a second was my brain starting to go, was that seeing how that interaction with Founding the Third Path works, I would imagine that if you had a spell, I think it's like Mystical Tutor or something, basically a spell that would tutor for, like, in this case, a sorcery, that you could actually get the Secret Keeper off of that tutor. Don't know if that's how it works, but I find that genuinely fascinating. In the meantime, play dude, go face. They're a little bit out of gas. They can bounce a guy in like 2 turns. He can block my guys. Why would you not block the third? Okay. There's actually no universe in which I can see why they wouldn't just block that third one. What did they do? Actually did not. Oh, I got targeted with the Founding. Cool. Play dude. Fucking Archive Trap. Okay, that's fair. I genuinely did not know this was in the format. That actually really helps this list. Actually, One Ring's kind of good here. Abolisher and One Ring. Didn't really have that many. They're not running like Millstones and some of the enchantments that'll mill you, so we don't need Witch Enchanter. Warden's a little less good. Maybe 1 3-tree battalion goes down. Ocelot Pride can actually go down 1. The creature is only ever going to be a 1/1. And if we want to like get through their oh gosh, pardon, moving the microphone with my feet. If we want to get through their Secret Keeper walls, if you will, or whatever Ruin Crabs and Hedron Crabs and all that shit they probably have, we're going to need like bigger bodies. In the meantime, go first. Not going to do another one-lander. As tempting as it might be, this is perfect. 2 lands, 5 spells, and a curve. With either interaction or a potential way to buff your board. Not bad. If it eventually lets me keep, we're going to throw back one of the speakers here. Come on, opponent. There we go. Keep. One of the speakers goes. Play the cave while it's untapped. Turn 2, play a Johnny's Pride Mate. And I do not think there is any other card we play. We're in grab. Anything else that we play that would really change that. Barring, like, I don't know, go and attack. Barring, like, a Voice of the Blessed, which is just a better version of a Johnny. And while we're not going to get through with the speaker, we can always gain the life. Okay, that's I mean, that's cute. Okay, I'm going to assume that, well, okay, I guess the 1 life can matter. But I'm going to assume that the storefront is like a budget alternative to the Prismatic Vista that does exist in the format. No land drawn. If he has Fading Life, Fading Light, that bounce a dude, and if it's a cheap scry thing, or Fading Hope, whatever it's called. If he has that, he can bounce anything we have on our board anyway, so might as well just go and just make him use it. Fading Hope. It was fading something. still worth attacking. Again, we're not going to get through, but life gain is life gain. Not only for the speaker, but in this case, also the Sarah Ascendant. Yeah, that's odd. I forgot he was Demir. He had Glimpse the Unthinkable last game, too. I mean, sure, I guess. Why would you not have found a swamp? Like, and gotten both your colors? I mean, whatever. Their call. We're not gonna... Well, we're gonna get through with 1 damage, but again, this is more of a, hey, let's gain some life kind of thing. If we draw a land, we'll probably play the Valkyrie next turn. If we don't draw a land, we'll probably play the Pride Mate. Again, we just want to get our dudes bigger than their blockers at this stage. They are not answering our board state, but they're like, just, you know, slowing it down. Better way to word that. Life gain for the Pride Mate. Get dude bigger. Very cute. Damnation? Okay, Tasha's is very bad for this list. That is a good one. Cool. Plan remains largely the same. They're almost certainly have that Fading Light or Hope or whatever it was called again. Hope? Yeah, Fading Hope. If they have it, they're going to use it. So, gonna just make them have it. What's the plan here? Yeah, although we can make a Sarah Angel. Well, kind of. Not a Sarah Angel. When we make a Angel, pardon. It's not a Sarah Angel because it doesn't have Vigilance. There we go. We draw land, we have a Valkyrie on board immediately. Sorry. The Valkyrie, we have its board buff ability online immediately. Of course, I think we're going to die before we, answer it. But I do, it's like nice. Oh, there goes our One Rings. Yeah, and we just died the Rivulet. There is mechanically nothing we do. Well, hang on. I was going to say there's mechanically nothing we do. We draw land. We have the Valkyrie. Hitting for... what? 6, 10... Well, okay, they can't block that. We didn't draw land, so that especially fucks us. Yeah. Well played from our opponent. We just got milled out, and that's fine. They just out-aggroed us. Which is totally fine. And also, I mean... Oh, yes, I had fun. Speaking to that fun, I mean, it might sound like... I'm sad because I lost, because I never want to lose. But, like, it is losing to a mill deck, which is pretty fun. And, like, it's not, like, common, but it's not uncommon. And I think that's, like, a good spot for a format to be in. Where a mill deck can exist and, like, find some success. Pretty good. But anywho, that was Mono White Life Gain Aggro. Whatever you want to call it. But really, again, it's Mono White Aggro. Very fun list. I will probably come back to it in the future, though you would need more new cards. And while it is, like, good and functional, unless you are, like, working on just, like, certain budget constraints and you don't, like, have as many cards, if you can splash for, like, another color's life gain synergy, either green or black are your best bets, do that. You will gain so much strength at such a very, very little cost, provided you have, like, the card base to do so. And not even that, you don't even need that much. Just, like a couple good rare lands that come into play untapped early on. But you can also find, pretty cheap, rarity-wise, payoffs for life gain in those colors. So, but yeah, it's a fun list. I will come back to it in the future, almost certainly, though it'll probably take a while. As I think the next mono-colored list I would like to do is like a mono-blue, because that's the only one that, like, I don't have a clear list for, where mono red is mono red. You've seen me make versions of that before. I will make them again. This is kind of what mono white is, and where mono white can succeed. Mono black is like the best version is like a mono black devotion. I think that still remains the case. So like there's mono green, which will be interesting, and mono blue. I'm sure we'll get around to them eventually if you want some interesting mono-colored list. Anywho, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you like my grab bag of content and would like to see more in the future. And if you don't have any, particular questions, just, ask your questions nicely and or somewhat constructively, and I'll try to respond to what I see. Thank you all, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.